Jai Hind, welcome to class of Satellite and Radar System. So we start from where we have left, Unit 2 Part 4, and we are talking about satellite link design. As we have already started in our previous lecture and we have discussed about link design, so we all know what is link design. Whenever we talk of any communication system, designing the system is a task, right? For designing the system, we need to take care of few things. Like if it's a communication system, we need to take care of the power, we need to take care of the bandwidth, right? And we should come up with such a system that will be an optimized system in terms of power, in terms of bandwidth consumption, in terms of budget, in terms of noise reduction. So these are the things that has to be taken care of when we talk about link design, right? So we'll be talking about system noise. So basic link design calculation we have already discussed in the previous lecture. Here we'll be talking about system noise temperature and G to T ratio, design of downlink and uplink, design of satellite links for specified C to N, right? We'll talk about these terms. So first of all, what is system noise temperature? What is noise temperature? And when we talk about noise temperature, we take the whole system, then we talk about system noise temperature, right? It is a useful concept in communication receivers since it provides a way of determining how much thermal noise is generated by active and passive devices in the receiving system, right? When we are talking about a complete system, even the receiver would be composed of the initial antenna, right? Then low noise amplifiers, then sequence of amplifiers and filters and demodulators. Even these devices, they would generate some inherent noise, right? And that has to be considered because whenever in the receiver we are demodulating and interpreting our actual message signal, we need to take care of the noise. If the background noise is too high, our signal will not be invisible or exactly interpretable, right? So all these calculations we do in terms of signal to noise ratio, that is average power of signal and average power of noise. Both these things are considered, right? So when we are talking about noise, we cannot ignore the noise which are caused by the devices where we are receiving the signal or demodulating the signal, that is processing the signal, right? So we talk about system noise temperature. It is a useful concept. It tells about how much thermal noise is generated by active and passive devices in the receiving system, right? Now we are talking about radio communication, most of the time wireless communication, so we talk about radio frequencies. So at microwave frequencies, the black body with the physical temperature, if denoted by Tp, T subscript P, degree Kelvin, then it would generate electrical noise over a wide bandwidth, right? In that case, in this environment, what will be the noise power? The noise power here can be given by Pn, P subscript n equals to K Tp Bn. This is the power of noise. How much noise in such system will be generated? That depends on the temperature Tp. This is the physical temperature of the source in Kelvin degrees, right? Right? So this is the physical temperature, right? This portion. Another thing, Bn. Bn here is the noise bandwidth, the bandwidth in which noise is generated. This is in hertz, right? and K here is the Boltzmann constant, and its value is written here, which is 1.39 into 10 to the power 23 joules per Kelvin. It can be calculated in decibel, watt per Kelvin per Hertz as well, right? So it's not mentioned here, but Bn is the noise bandwidth, which is in Hertz, right? Now, to determine the performance of a receiving system, we need to be able to find the total thermal noise power, against which the signal must be demodulated, right? We do this by determining the system noise temperature, Ts, right? If the overall end-to-end gain of the receiver is given by this G R small x, this is subscript, then this is the ratio, not in decibel. Okay, this term here is the ratio, it is not in decibel. Then its narrowest bandwidth, Bn Hertz, then the noise power at the demodulator input is. We already know that power equals to Boltzmann constant, temperature, bandwidth, these three terms. So here I can see an additional term, right? So what we are actually doing, we are approaching towards precise calculation. Now we are considering the gain of the system as well. So another factor also comes here, which is the gain of the receiver, right? Because noise is studied at receiver only, so gain of receiver is important parameter here, where GRX is the gain of the receiver from RF input to demodulator input. The noise power referred to the input of the receiver is Pin, where Pn is this earlier calculated. True, power we calculated. What? Now let the antenna deliver a signal power PR watt to the receiver RF input. The signal power at the demodulator input now is, if it is delivering this much power, in spite of writing it only P, the precise form of writing it is into G, that is we are considering gain of the system, right? Because we all know that 100% there is no system which is 100% efficient, right? So gain of a system is an important parameter that has to be considered, right? This represents the power contained in the carrier and sidebands after amplification and frequency conversion within the receiver. Hence, the carrier to noise ratio at the demodulator is given by, what is this carrier to noise ratio? You know, this is a term which we frequently use in satellite communication, and this is equivalent to the term SNR, which we study as a whole in any kind of communication system, right? We know that SNR, or signal to noise ratio, is the average power of signal to average power of noise. This is a common term which we use everywhere in communication system. When we talk about satellite communication, then we specifically talk about C/N, that is carrier to noise ratio. This is equivalent to this, right? Because in radio communication we talk about power of the carrier, right? And noise is the same. So here it is carrier power we have calculated in the previous here only, right? When some power is dissipated, this much is received, this is the carrier power. And what is the noise power? Noise power we calculated here, right? So carrier power upon noise power, and here we can see that becomes received power by these left out terms only. This is Boltzmann constant here, system temperature, and noise bandwidth in hertz, right? So carrier to noise ratio is something very important in satellite communication, which we are talking about here. So what about the simplified earth station receiver? Now as we are talking about the noise in the receiver, we have to see how my receiver works. So this is a simplified diagram of earth station receiver, right? In my earth station receiver, as we are doing radio communication through satellite, my receiving element or receiving unit, the first unit or the receiving unit will be antenna, of course, right? So parabolic dish or Cassegrain antenna. For satellite earth stations, we use large size Cassegrain antenna, right? Large diameter antennas. If we are doing with the help of very small aperture terminals like D2H, which are installed in our rooftop, those are also paraboloid but of small size, approximately 0.5 meter diameter, right? So the first element is my antenna. From antenna, the signal goes to low noise amplifier, right? We all know the role of a low noise amplifier. What a low noise amplifier does? A low noise amplifier, first of all, it filters out the noise, right? And it does amplify the signal power, right? So low noise amplifier is something which comes in the very beginning of a communication system, right after the receiving antenna, right? So here I can denote the terms PR as received power is PR, right? And gain of this receiving terminal I can show by G, RF, G subscript RF, right? So if I talk about EIRP here, if you all know, equivalent isotropic radiated power, here it will be P into G. Like we have discussed in terms of transmission, like EIRP will be PT into GT, that is transmitted power multiplied by the gain, transmission gain. So here also if I calculate EIRP, that would be P into G, right? So now after filtering out the noise and amplifying the low power signals, the useful signals, that is passed on to the filter. Here the filter is a band pass filter, right? This is the symbol for a filter, right? We know that a receiver would be series of band pass filters and amplifiers, right? So we can have n number of band pass filters or n number of amplifiers here, right? Then it goes to mixer. Role of mixer is very important in a receiver. Here my mixer acts as a down converter. What is the role of a down converter? We know a mixer will have two inputs, right? One of the input is the radio wave, another input is the locally generated wave, which I generate here. Locally means physically locally, right? We know my transmitter is far from the receiver, right? We are doing radio communication, wireless, we are doing wireless communication, right? So practically and physically my transmitter is at a far distance from my receiver. So when I generate a wave, which is most of the time in case of coherent detection, is coherent in phase and frequency to the carrier which was used at the transmitter, then my receiver must have the knowledge of the carrier which was used at transmitter, but that is generated locally here at the receiver side. That's why this oscillator is called as local oscillator, right? So two of the inputs to the mixer is what? Number one, the radio wave, radio frequency, which we directly receive, of course after filtering out the noise and after amplification. And another input is the locally generated wave. if these are A and B, we know the possible outcomes could be A into B, A minus B, A plus B, A square, B square. There are n number of possibility. There are n number of possibilities to find the output, right? So here the desired one can be chosen with the help of the filter that we apply. I can tune my band pass filter to the particular frequency which is desired by my receiver. I can tune it to this frequency, I can tune it to this frequency, or XYZ, right? And the right frequency will be processed, will be passed on, right? And finally this will again be amplified. A receiver would have series of filters and amplifiers, right? So we can have n number of receivers, n number of amplifiers and bandpass filters. Now, of course, here the demodulator section is not shown, which is not of interest for this particular subject here. But if you study communication in whole, you will see that here we do have a demodulator as well. So when we talk about a complete receiver, demodulator is an important section which cannot be ignored. Although it has not been shown here, but we have to keep it in mind that detector or demodulator must be the part of a receiver or a super heterodyne receiver. And we do know that why do we call a receiver a super heterodyne receiver? This is the portion where heterodyning takes place. What does the word heterodyne means? Heterodyne means is to mix, right? So here this is the block where mixing takes place, as two signals are entering and mixing takes place here. So this is the important part. So we can say at receiver down conversion takes place, at transmitter up conversion takes place. Both occurs with the help of mixer, right? Now calculation of system noise temperature. The super heterodyne receiver has three main subsystems. A front end front end consists of RF amplifier, mixer and a local oscillator. Second portion is the IF amplifier. IF amplifiers consist of a group of amplifiers and filters. This you can put as many as per the requirement. And a demodulator and a baseband section, right? And a demodulator and a baseband section. This is the final portion. The RF amplifier in a satellite communications receiver must generate a little noise as possible. So it is called a low noise amplifier or LNA. This is what we have already discussed, right? The mixer and local oscillator form a frequency conversion stage that down converts the RF signal to a fixed intermediate frequency. True, right? RF frequency, which is a very high frequency, usually in gigahertz range. This is first down converted into intermediate frequency, that could be in kilohertz or hundreds of hertz. After this is converted into, if this was an audio message, into the desirable frequency, that could be, even the audio or desired message frequency, right? That could be in hertz. Or we do not directly jump from radio frequency to this. We first convert it into intermediate frequency, and after conversion to intermediate frequency only we convert it into the audio range, right? Now this is double conversion earth station receiver. This consists of the same arrangement in double manner, right? For single conversion, we do have this arrangement, a single arrangement of this, and in double conversion, we do have the same system concatenated with the first one, right? This has been discussed. This is the first part of the receiver, which is my receiving antenna. Low noise amplifier, again, it does filter out the noise and it amplifies the weak received signals, right? This is the received part, this is the gain of the receiver. Now band pass filter does its job and it filters out the signal, that is the noise portion, and mixer performs here the down conversion, right? Again, we can have n number of band pass filters and amplifiers. This is my intermediate frequency part, and after intermediate frequency part, this whole process could be repeated, and this is for better results, right? When we do all these things in stepwise manner, this will give me a better result. And here you can see this is the second IF amplifier, right? So series of filters and amplifier will give me better extraction of the signal. And finally demodulator, which I have discussed here, was missing here, is shown here, right? And this demodulator will convert my IF into baseband frequency. So here I receive RF, which is converted into IF intermediate frequency, and here I get the baseband frequency, right? This is how it happens. Now these are some basic terminologies that we should be aware of. What is power flux density? Now if we assume an isotropic radiator which is situated at the center of the sphere, like we consider it to be a sphere with radius r, then the flux will be power per unit area, right? And power is given by P subscript S, and for sphere the area is given by 4 pi r square, right? Where PS is the power flow. In general, power flux density of a practical antenna varies with the direction, right? And its maximum value will be in one particular direction. We know most of the antennas are directional antennas. That is an ideal constant, that we do have an antenna which is omnidirectional and isotropic. That is an ideal situation. Most of the antennas are directive in nature, right? Another term is gain. Although we have used these terms, but we need to study these one by one. Gain of a practical antenna is defined as the ratio of maximum power flux density of the practical antenna and power flux density of the isotropic antenna. When I do take ratio of the practical antenna versus the ideal or isotropic antenna, that mathematical parameter will give me the value of gain, right? Where psi m is the maximum power flux density of the practical antenna, which would be directive in nature, and psi I is the power flux density of the isotropic antenna, that is the ideal case. What is EIRP, equivalent isotropic radiated power? It is one of the important parameter which is used for measurement of the link budget, which was discussed earlier as well. Mathematically it can be written as gain into power, right? So if I express it into decibel, then I will convert it into 10 log to the base 10, and my multiplication will be written as plus form, right? What do we mean by transmission losses? The difference between the power sent at one end and received at the receiving station is known as transmission losses. What are the two most famous kind of losses? Constant and variable losses. What are constant losses? These are also called as feeder losses, right? No matter whatsoever form of precaution you take, these losses will occur. These are because of the inherent devices, their inherent features, right, which cannot be avoided. Variable losses are something which is because of the atmosphere and they can be controlled. This could be because of bad weather, or bad tuning, or bad making of the circuit. So these all could lead to variable loss, right? So link budget calculation, let's give first revision of it, which we have covered in the previous lecture also. Today also related to link budget, we have discussed about system noise temperature. So let's give it a quick review. So this is isotropic antenna which is radiating. This is received by the receiver. Flux is power per unit area. This is the receiver. So receiving antenna has this area and this gain. And flux density is power per unit area. Watt per meter square. Right? Total power is flux into area. This is my effective aperture. These terms have been discussed in detail, right? So this is, revision of that. So effective aperture is efficiency multiplied by the total area of the antenna. And when I talk about the received power, this is calculated in terms of PT, GT, AE. So actually only power is transmitted. More precise calculation, for more precise calculation I will consider the gain of the system and not the area of the antenna but the effective aperture, right? And this is the area, right? So these things have been discussed already. A fundamental relationship in antenna theory, that is the gain and area of an antenna is given by this formula. So PR we have already discussed. So power received PT into GT, this can be written as EIRP, right? And GR is the receiving antenna gain, and this is my path loss. So this is in watt, and when I write it in decibel, that would be 10 log to the base 10 of this, and these multiplication terms will come as plus and the division term will come as subtraction. So EIRP is basically 10 log to the base 10 PTGT, this is EIRP, and gain can be written like this, and these are this is the path loss, and these are various kind of losses. If I go into detail, what are these kind of losses? Already discussed. Attenuation in atmosphere. For this you can refer my previous lecture where these things has been discussed in detail. This is the complete overview, right? This is the attenuation in atmosphere. This is losses associated with the transmitting antenna, losses associated with receiving antenna. So these all losses must be subtracted, right, when we are calculating the total received power. So this system shows my transmission. For transmitting antenna PTGT, path loss is LP, right? This atmospheric loss, these are transmission loss, the receiving loss, right? So this picture shows me the complete link budget, right? That's it for today. Thank you. These are the references.